Welcome to the All Metal Mode podcast with your host, Michael Hare. Tune in every Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern with co-host Gypsy Jules, and every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern with Matt Hoffman as we talk to guests, discuss metal detectors, equipment, and everything treasure related. Feel free to join in the discussion in the chat room during the show. And please, if you like what you hear, we'd appreciate you taking a moment to hit that like button and share the link with your friends. We hope you enjoy the show. The All Metal Mode podcast starts right now.
Hello, everybody. This is Mike, and you're listening to the All Metal Mode podcast. Thank you for joining me and Gypsy Jules. And a big thank you to Siren Kimmy for the intro. We appreciate it. Girls Rock Metal Detecting. Make sure you check it out. She does some really awesome videos, and we really appreciate it. That was so awesome of her. allmetalmode.com. If you go to in the navigation articles, I've been writing a couple articles, published a couple here recently. Still got some I'm working on. Been busy with kids and my leg, which I'm actually doing the show from bed tonight with my leg propped up. I'm telling you, if you get a nasty spider bite on your leg, don't be tough and not go to the hospital or the doctor, because having that stuff cut out was miserable. And I'm afraid I'm going to have to go back and try to get into the doctor tomorrow. It was doing real good, and now it's kind of, it's getting a little pink around it, a little more sore. I never would have thought a spider bite could turn into something like this and would have me down like this long. It's just been miserable. But really excited for tonight's guest. Gypsy reached out to him, and they agreed to do it. I don't know why. I mean, why they'd want to come on, but because of Gypsy. She's cool. Hey, Gypsy.
Hi. Hi, Mike. Hi, everyone. Hello. Hi, Carlotta. So we want to take a moment to go ahead and welcome our guests for this evening. Tonight we have Carlotta and Tim Saylor, and thank you all for joining us tonight.
Oh, thank you for inviting us.
Yeah, it's
so
great
welcome.
to be here.
It's wonderful to have y'all. It's been too long since we've hunted together, but we want to hear all about y'all's recent travels. I'm sure everybody's curious. I hear y'all been down under. That wasn't a very good accent.
2 weeks. Yeah, it was 2 weeks in Australia. We had a ball. Just had the best time ever.
Wow. Did y'all get to meet up with? What's his name?
Warren and Coley.
Warren.
Yes.
Yeah. I love
from
Warren.
NQ Explorers. Oh, we did talk about you. We did. Warren said he really liked it. He really liked your videos, and he thought you were a great metal detectorist and really down.
He's always commenting
down
on
to
my
earth
videos,
and the real deal.
Yeah.
No, they're
that
awesome.
is awesome.
We had great things to say about you.
Well, actually, later on, he came up to me and told me he was just lying about all that stuff.
Okay.
Don't listen to him.
Yeah, I remember.
No, we did.
The first time he commented on my video. He said he uses the word fossicking, and I was like, fossicking? What is that? I had to look it up. You know, it's like an Australian term for adventuring.
Yeah, for prospecting.
Yeah,
we actually had to. When we went down there a couple weeks ago, we actually had to get a fossicking license so that when we were out on the public lands out there, if a ranger came up, you had to have your papers with you or they'd give you a ticket or whatever they would do. But yeah, they set us up with our own fossicking licenses, and they're good for like, I think, a year or something. And of course I thought, fossicking, I thought since it's an Australian term, everybody would know that. And we were going through customs on the way into Australia, and we've got all our gear and stuff, and the customs officer, he goes, "What's in all those big cases?" And I go, "Scuba equipment and fossicking equipment, and we've already got our fossicking licenses." And he just looked at me and he goes, "What's fossicking, mate?" He had no idea funny. Either. So
that's hilarious. So does it cost money to get the license, or how do you have to go about that?
Well, Warren got us the license, so I don't know if he paid for it. I probably should ask him about it. I didn't even thank him for it. I was just so ungrateful.
So rude.
But you know me, Mr. Rude and ungrateful.
What was it? Did you guys find enough gold to retire? Are you guys retired now?
I am the only one that found gold on this trip.
Wow.
Really?
Let's hear about that, Carlotta.
We went to, what was that? What was it? An old military camp?
Yeah. Just an old camp. We actually didn't go out in the outback looking for gold this time. We were just hunting some parks and some permissions that Warren had, in the past and set up. Obviously, he grew up there, so he knew where he was. And we just went off adventuring, or fossicking, I guess they called it, and went out in the middle. One day we actually drove trying to find this old ghost town. We drove for
like 5 hours.
Literally 5 hours, not exaggerating.
Wow.
And we got all the way out in the middle of, we were in the middle of nowhere. We'd driven right through creeks and everything to get to this place.
Racing kangaroos on the road.
Yeah, kangaroos, everything. And then we got all the way, we saw this poisonous snake, red-bellied something or other, and it would kill you, But we got all the way to within 150 yards of where we were supposed to be, and there was a locked gate.
Oh, we couldn't get in.
Oh, no.
But, that's the way it goes. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. And then, like, the very next day, we went to another spot, and we just crushed it. We just did incredible and found all kinds of silver coins and stuff. And obviously,
I found the oldest coin.
Yeah, you did. You found one from 1866, silver coin.
Whoa!
And we recorded a bunch of it, and we'll eventually put it out as one of our quick hitters on the Anaconda Treasure Channel, on YouTube. But we just had a blast, and obviously Australia developed in a way kind of parallel to the United States because
the gold rush was at the same time as our gold rush.
Yeah. And so they have a lot of similar things. They had that big gold rush in the 1850s, just like we did. And so they have all these old mines and stuff and old ghost towns that dried up just like we do. And so sometimes you almost feel like you're in the U.S.
Except they're coming head on the road.
Yeah, except you're driving on the wrong side. Yeah, and there's kangaroos instead of deer.
Yeah, and there really are kangaroo everywhere. Like, they were on the golf course, lounging around. We were out there down a dirt road 5 hours out, and there's kangaroos hopping along.
I saw one of your photos with the kangaroos.
Just a kick in the pants.
Yeah, we had a really good time, and then we took a day and went diving too. We didn't. I did a little bit of dive detecting, like just on offshore. Kind of snorkeling and stuff, and I didn't really find much. But
they clean their beaches there. They have like a tractor with a trommel on it that they drag around the beaches and clean the beaches. So somebody's scoring some stuff.
Yeah, the signals were really few and far between on some of those beaches. We found a few things, a few coins and stuff. I found a kind of a cool token from a football team there, like a rugby team.
Oh,
but
cool.
Nothing crazy good. The best stuff we found was out in old mining towns or whatever, the old areas where we could find Silver Age coins, and
and it was humid and mosquitoes and vines, like jungly, so you're fighting all that, and mosquitoes and ticks and.
Oh yeah, we came home one day and we had, welts all over our faces and necks and hands and stuff, but it was
so
brutal.
Worth it.
But it was worth it because we actually found stuff. Had we not found anything, I would have been like, I just want to go home. Yeah.
Oh, and I got to hold a koala. We went to one of the sanctuaries, and I got to hold a koala, so that was awesome for me.
Oh, that is awesome.
I stood in line with her for an hour. It was super awesome.
He was so good. That's what a good husband does. He stands in line and waits with me. He's so good.
When you guys were way out, did you think of Wolf Creek? Did you ever see the movie? It's a horror movie based on a real story in Australia where a lot of people came up missing, a group of kids, like teenagers traveling. Oh, it's a good thing you didn't see that.
I never saw that.
Yeah, that's a good thing. I don't know that I could go travel the Outback now after seeing that movie.
I've never seen it.
Well, we were basically in a jungle area because it's like a tropical area.
Really?
And the birds, just screaming birds and stuff, the sounds are so different than in the U.S.
We have pigeons. They have flocks of cockatoos. Big white ones and big pink ones. Giant flocks. We're detecting, and there's these giant white birds go by. And
wow.
And cockatiels. And
parrot-looking things.
Well, they are parrots.
Oh, okay.
and rainbow lorikeets and all that. I just love the sounds. The sounds in the early morning when the sun's coming up and all these jungly bird sounds on the beach. It was awesome.
I hated it because I couldn't sleep.
I loved it.
It sounded like somebody was screaming, like a baby was screaming.
That was just you.
So you guys had fun. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to ask. When I talked to you at Detective All, you were off to somewhere. So we started with your most recent. Can we kind of backtrack? Where were you at before? I know you travel a lot, correct?
Oh, yeah, a little bit. When we were at Detective All,
No.
I think I just come from France, and we were at Detectable, KG and I were, and then we went back to the U.S., and then we went back to the Netherlands, where we went to Detector World, which was a great, great event. Man, we had a blast there. They had great parties and all kinds of fun stuff going on there.
You got to practice your German for hours on end.
Yeah, I got to hang out with all the Germans, which is always fun for me because they put up with my bad German. And then we went from there to Sicily, and that was really, really awesome too. I think we put a couple videos out from the island there, And then we came back here, and then CB and I went to Australia.
And we have some trips coming up in the new year. We have a ton of stuff coming up in the new year.
Oh, tell us all about it.
I think we'll be in Hawaii.
Yeah, we'll be in Kauai in June, but we're going to be in Florida.
Oh, yeah. We get to go, KG and CB and I, all of us actually, are going to be at the Charles Garrett Memorial Hunt, and then the very next weekend we'll be in Florida at the big Sunshine Silver Hunt.
Mm-hmm.
It's a massive event in Florida, and I think I know that they just put the ad out for it. We did kind of KG and I did kind of a funny little surprise for them. We got together with Mark Hoover, which I think you interviewed Mark before on the
yeah, Mark's actually in the chat this evening. So
yeah.
Oh, nice. Hi, Mark. If you can hear us.
Hey, Mark. We got together with Mark and we put together this little surprise video for the announcement just at their private Christmas party, and we did kind of a funny little skit for them, and they played it. And so I think eventually we'll put it out so everybody else can see it too. We'll just stick it on Facebook or something. But it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
And those are in April, I believe. And then, of course, they just gave us our schedule. KG and I will be. We're doing a few things in the U.S. this year because we've kind of been overseas so much, and we're going to be over there. I think we're going to be in Italy a couple times next year, England a couple times.
And then you and I are going to Germany
and then we'll be in Germany for a little bit, and I think we're going to Russia. And
oh, wow.
I don't
Russia.
know. It's always kind of overwhelming when you look at it at the beginning of the year, but then, it's just.
So I'll be home and available to go out hunting and detecting without it.
Yeah.
That's funny. You mentioned Germany. Do you have some kind of connection to Germany?
Well, my last name is Brandenburg, so I have German heritage.
Okay.
And Mr. Saylor here speaks German.
And well, my grandmother was full German, and one of my degrees is actually in German, and I studied over there for a summer in Vienna, Austria, and I just spent some time over there, and I just enjoy it because it's one of the only places I can go that I can actually read the signs and stuff.
And I just want to go just to see, to see where my family comes from, and
right,
taste the food and see everything, and maybe
I'm German as well. I that's something on my bucket list someday. I'd like to go over there. I'd actually like to hunt down my family. My great grandfather come over and left a brother, one brother and a mom is I know of for sure. I'm not sure who else, but so yeah, I've always kind of.
Do you know where?
No, I don't. I've never really done the research. I actually, a lady did some research for me and confirmed that he was from there, and a brother stayed there. But other than that, I don't. But there are a lot of hares. I have looked up, and there's a lot of hares. His name was not changed. The pronunciation, I believe, was, but it's Haer. And that seems to be a fairly common name over there, last name.
Sure.
So someday.
Yeah, okay, maybe.
Me being a Brandenburg, Tim got the Brandenburg gate tattooed on his shoulder.
Yeah, that was my latest tattoo.
That's neat.
Yeah, she got a little anchor for Sailor, and I got a Brandenburg gate. So.
You're so cute. So Tim, didn't you write a book in German?
What's that?
Write a book in German? Didn't you write a book in German? Do I remember that correctly?
Well, I wrote a book about treasure hunting about 10 years ago, and there was a chapter in the middle. I can't remember if it was the 12th or 13th chapter, but I just wrote that one in German. With no explanation whatsoever. It's just in German. And it contained 3 treasure maps in that chapter. And a lot of it was just nonsense about talking about, I don't know, my underwear being too tight or whatever. And in the middle of that, like I left some coordinates and stuff, and there were 3 treasure boxes that George and I had built and filled with real silver coins and other, not so good things. And we buried them, one in Montana, one in Iowa, and one in North Carolina. And we just kind of left it there. And then eventually, every once in a while, somebody say, "Why is this in German?" And we just say, I don't know. And eventually, people actually took the time to figure it out. One guy in North Carolina took it to his college professor that spoke German and had him read it, and he goes, "I don't know what it said, but he was laughing really hard." And then he said it's just all about a treasure map. And eventually all the boxes over about 7 years got found.
I thought just in the last year the last one was found? Last year or
two or 3 years ago, a guy found the last one in Iowa. Yeah. And it was, of course, disintegrated. Yeah.
I guess I need to learn German.
I'm trying. I got a little app so I can say like horse and dog and cat, and that's about it.
Butterfly.
I can say butterfly.
My youngest son is actually taking German in high school right now. He's a freshman this year, and
awesome.
He had his finals for this semester or whatever today in his German class. So I was asking him all kinds of questions, like, "How did you do? What were the questions and stuff?"
What made him in Texas take German? That's so cool.
I really don't know, because you would think that, usually Spanish and French are the main ones.
Yeah.
Here in Texas that most people take, and for me, I didn't even take one in high school. I did sign language, so I know enough sign language to get by and talk to some deaf people. But anyway, I don't know. I really don't know. It's interesting, though, to hear him say, it's a very guttural language. So I find it
so
fascinating.
cool.
It's a beautiful language. It's the language of love. That's actually sounds like you're shouting and screaming all the time.
So funny.
That is funny.
Question. So let's go back to let's talk about, okay, we got the new year coming up, but let's talk about 2018. I'd like to know, both of you, maybe what was your most fun adventure this year, and what was some of your favorite finds from both of you?
Let's see. I have to say, we went to Cozumel last year for Christmas, and that was pretty awesome. Who doesn't like staying at an all-inclusive resort, hanging out at the beach, metal detecting, and diving? But out of all the places this last year, for me, Australia, I would like move there. It was just awesome.
Oh, really?
I'm
sure it helped having people there that are friends, and we're going to meet them again this year at the SHOT Show and go detecting up here somewhere this January. But that was awesome. Just the birds and the creatures and
right.
the jungle and the treasure and the attitudes, and it was, for me, that was the best experience so far for me.
Yeah, that was one of the best trips I've ever been on too. I mean, no disrespect to KG or anything, but Carlotta,
he's kind of a pain.
Yeah, KG, he's just not as good looking as CB.
Yeah, I look better than
But no, it was really fun. I got to say also, some of the things we've done this year, we've been to Italy many times, and it's always great. But we'd never been to Sicily, and we got to meet some new people there, and we really had a good time there. That was really fun. And Detector World was just amazing. It was just, there were so many people there. It was
trade show. Right?
Yeah, it was a massive trade show, hunting event, and I really had a great time there. I mean, literally, it was just nonstop from the moment we got there. We showed up after 30 hours of travel through the airports, catching 3 or 4 planes, and you barely get a little nod off of maybe 10 or 15 minutes here or there, but really you're up for about 30 hours straight.
Yeah, same thing with Australia.
Yeah, and we wandered in, and we were all checking into our rooms, getting our keys, and it was about 9 o'clock at night or so. I don't know, maybe 10, but the bar was directly across from the reception desk, and all the German guys were in there drinking beers, and everybody went to their room, and I just I didn't even go to my room. I just took my luggage and threw it in the corner and went straight in, and somebody handed me a half a beer, and I drank it, and then we ended up closing down the bar.
Oh my!
So it was a great fun party there. And then as far as finds go, I found probably, I don't know if it's the greatest, I guess it could be the greatest coin I've ever found this year. And that was in England. I found a 50 BC Celtic coin that was made of gold and silver, both, a mix of it.
Oh,
now that's got to be unusual to find one of gold and silver.
Yeah, it had the markings of a silver coin, but it was super heavy, and as soon as we wiped the dirt off, you could see the yellow in it. It was just beautiful. So I think I put a quick hitter out there on it so you can see it if you want to go online and look at it. But it's
I saw that.
It was just shocking. It was just such a beautiful hit, and I mean I've had some serious luck in England the last few trips, but that
I've
was
had good luck in England when I've been there.
Incredible.
Been there twice.
Yeah. You found that Roman hat pin that was perfect.
I found a fibula the first time I went, a Roman fibula, and it was awesome. It was probably 2.5, 3 inches long, and just beautiful. And then I found the last time we found hammered silver coins, but the bronze hairpin.
Oh, yeah. I said hat pin, but it was a hairpin.
Yeah, hairpin. So that was pretty awesome. But I found a gold tooth in Australia, so I was the only one.
Really? That was
that was
thing.
so
That
bizarre.
Was
I mean, yeah, and it wasn't smashed or anything.
No, it's still a hole.
Yeah, it was perfectly formed still. No tooth in it, but it was just, it's basically 24 karat gold. It was just cool.
So weird. When I lived in Dallas, I did a lot of water hunting and in the water and surf hunting. And a lot of people from our club members, and I never found one. They would find these teeth and gold mounts and silver mounts, some with diamonds in them, all kinds of weird.
Found someone's grill.
Right? They found the whole grill there, some of them. But it was weird. I was like, how did that get there? What were they doing? I guess just out there swimming.
Right, what were they doing?
Yeah, exactly. Some weird
So,
stuff in Galveston.
I've got to ask you, earlier you guys said that, or Carlotta, it came up that you were the only one to find gold in Australia. Is that the only piece of gold?
Yes.
Because that cracks me up that they're known for their nuggets and stuff, and you found that's how ironic, how funny. That is so funny.
Yeah. Warren and I were just walking through the woods detecting next to each other, and both of us were shaking our heads because there was kind of a lot of trash that had blown into the woods there, and a lot of those midtones were like kind of old ring bowls and milk bottle tops from the 50s. And Warren and I looked at each other and it's like, if I'd have got that hit, I'd have never dug it. And I said, I would have never dug it either. So, I mean, for all we know, there's 10,000 teeth out there. Yeah, she was just on it, That was awesome.
You go, girl.
I found here in Arizona, before Tim and I, right when we met, I found 7 gold nuggets out detecting. So that's how we met.
Oh, wow.
I was a gold prospector here in Arizona, and I would do nugget shooting. So,
wow.
That's how I met Mr. Wonderful. He still hasn't found any gold nuggets.
I have, but only through high banking. No,
not detecting.
High banking and just panning. But I've never ever found like just a raw piece of gold with my detector, other than in Australia, but those were just little tiny specks.
So,
but like she found a couple of bigger, where you could feel the weight of them in your hand, and I'm just like, man, I've never found something like that.
So, do you guys, when you're home, do you do much prospecting?
No, I hate to say it, we don't, because Tim doesn't really like prospecting as much as I do. And then when he's home, if he's been out of town, he's tired, and we're catching up and running amok, and he's making shows. So sometimes we go, not as often as we used to, I think, but.
Yeah, we should go more. I mean, literally 5 minutes from our house.
Yeah, we can find gold.
We can go out and pan and come home with gold every time.
Wow.
And we don't do it because we're so busy. Yeah.
Everybody needs to unwind, though, and I know as much as you travel, I can imagine you just probably need the break, but how cool is that you can, and for sure.
Oh, yeah, and I figure we will in the future and stuff, but it's just, right now with our travel schedule and stuff, it's just out of control.
Yeah, next year's crazy. I might be hanging out in Texas with you, Gypsy, a week or two during the year.
Awesome. You do that. That'd be fun. We can get into some trouble.
Oh, I like that.
I don't think
so. I got
there's another.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead, Gypsy.
No, I was just going to ask Carlotta a question. Sure. Carlotta, you mentioned you used to go prospecting more often. How long have you been metal detecting? And what got you into that?
I bought my first metal detector when I still lived in California, and I moved out of California almost 10 years ago. So I bought my detector a couple years before I left California, and it was a mine lab, and I had great fun with that thing. And then Tim came along and said I wasn't allowed to use it with him. I had to learn how to use a Garrett. So, yeah, but it was a good machine. I enjoyed it. Found some gold rings, some silver rings,
What got you in?
Yeah, that's a mine lab before my kind of in between some Garretts there, but I understand.
Carlotta, what got you into metal detecting? What attracted you?
Well, I always enjoyed the outdoors. I would go fishing and camping and my mom used to do a little metal detecting on the beach in California, and I thought, there are groups in Northern California where I was up out of Redding. There were little prospecting groups, and they do detecting and dredging when you could still do suction dredging. So I just was interested and went and joined the group and caught the bug, and that was that.
That is so cool. So you'd kind of mentioned how you and Tim met. Can you elaborate on that? I'd love to hear more about how you guys met and how that became. Now you guys are married, and you got married this last year, correct?
No, this July we got married in July.
Yeah.
So it's been quite an exciting year.
Tell us all about it.
Yeah, when we met, I was living in Phoenix. I owned my little house, and I worked in ophthalmology for a doctor, helping with surgeries and what have you. And I had joined the Gold Prospectors Association, the Phoenix chapter. So for a couple of years, I was hanging out with some friends in the Phoenix chapter, and we go out with a group, and we go detecting and gold prospecting and just having a good time. And a couple of friends of mine, Randy and Karen, they were running the club at the time. And I guess Tim had called to get signed up with the Gold Prospectors Association. And so they would chat. And mind you, I didn't really watch much TV. I didn't get the National Geographic channel, so I didn't even watch National Geographic. Wasn't on my cable thing. Had no clue. So they're chatting with him, and they're like, "Oh, you need to start dating." It's like, I don't think so. And so next thing you know, they're texting him pictures of me in a bikini.
Oh my God!
They're texting him pictures of us out detecting. Because I'm out with my friends detecting and whatever, and they're sending him pictures, with unbeknownst to me. And then next thing you know, they're like, "Oh, you guys should really talk." And I get a phone shoved at me in the middle of the desert going, "Here, talk to this guy." I'm like, "Who the hell is this?" So we kind of start talking, and it's really uncomfortable. And he's doing something where he was digging in a privy somewhere, and some old lady made him mad, and he was kind of chatting about that. And I still didn't know who he was, what he did, but then they showed me some pictures like, well, okay, he's kind of cute. And so just to shut up Randy and Karen, we start talking. So next thing you know, we're talking all the time. Then we're talking on the phone every day. And then we're chatting about everything. Then he comes to visit. So he stayed with me at my house in Phoenix, and we had a great time. And then he went back to Montana where he lived, and I visited him. And so we kind of flew back and forth. Then we decided, well, if we're gonna do this, we should at least live in the same state. So I apparently lost my mind. I sold my house. Moved to the tiny little town of Anaconda. And I moved into a house next door to him. We literally lived like 2 feet apart. It was his little house with his dog and my little house with my cat. And we moved me in on Thanksgiving week, like Tuesday, right before Thanksgiving. And it was snowing, like 10 inches of snow was falling. We're trying to move in my furniture, and I'm thinking, oh, Lord, help me. I just don't know what I've done. And a couple days later, he goes, oh, I got to go. And off to National Geographic, he goes off to some Caribbean island to detach while I'm up to my eyeballs in snow with no heat.
Oh, no.
So, yeah. It was quite an experience. I joke with him that if I had known he was on TV in the beginning, I never would have dated him. No. But so we lived. So I lived in Montana almost 2 years, and I cried because it's very cold and a lot of snow. You can't detect in the snow. You can't go outside. And so he said if I could find a place that met certain requirements, he gave me a list. Had to be at a certain elevation, had to be certain temperatures, certain rainfall. I mean, he gave me this whole list. And I said, okay, I can do that.
I thought it was an impossible task.
Oh, no. On Thanksgiving, we come to Arizona on Thanksgiving. I had a real estate agent lined up, and we bought a house.
Yeah.
Oh,
wow.
It was pretty awesome. She did. She found it met all the requirements. I'm like, man, this place is awesome. So here we are. And now I don't have to mow or shovel anymore.
Right. No more snow up to our eyeballs. No, the weather's just fantastic. Yeah. And then, so we did this. It's been a couple years. And then this year was crazy. I turned 50. I got my first tattoo. We got married. We went to Australia.
Yeah, it's like, we barely had time to sleep. It's insane.
It was an exciting year.
Yeah.
So
it really has been a fantastic year. Yeah.
How big of that has to be a huge change from Montana to Arizona. How are you handling that, Tim?
Well, the crazy thing is, it's not that big of a change because of the requirements that I set forth in my demands. Really, we don't. People think, because we live in Arizona, we're in the desert, but we're not. We're up in the Rocky Mountains at a mile high, and it can actually snow here. So, if it snows, it's like a little dust, and then it goes away generally. And everybody has a big panic attack, and we're just like, nothing's really happening. But it's definitely not like the desert. So when it's 120 degrees down there, it'll get to 100 here, but it's not.
This is where everybody comes in the summer.
Yeah, people come here to get out of the heat. So it's definitely not what you think of. Most people think of Arizona as just a desert, but you've got, an hour from here, we've got a ski resort at Flagstaff and all that. So
right.
We have antelope. They run free. We have antelope. They're so cute.
Yeah, you've got elk and antelope. So it's super similar to Montana in the summer. So, yeah.
That's very cool. Yeah. Arizona is...
Sorry, go ahead. Arizona is. Go ahead. Go ahead, Mike.
Oh, me. I'm sorry. I thought Carlotta. Arizona is very, there's a lot of different climates and stuff. I mean, I remember as a kid, us going up to, I believe, Flagstaff, wasn't it? And snow and everything else. And but yeah, it's desert to everything. It's I like Arizona. I like it.
Yeah,
Nice
I
state
love
to be.
Arizona. I do. It's a good place to come home to.
I've only been there once. That was this last year, and it was lovely. I had fun, and there was supposed to be snow there already, but there wasn't. So I looked out, and because I'm not really much of a snow person. I've been skiing plenty of times and stuff like that, but where I've lived a lot in Texas, West Texas, it snowed a lot there, but here where I live, it snows maybe a decent snow every 50 years, so got to experience our first snow a couple of years ago. But I've got a metal detecting question for y'all. Have either one of y'all ever metal detected, like, at a snow resort, like where there's ski lifts that go up? I'm just curious. I've heard that those are good spots to metal detect at.
Yeah, I have. I've done 2 different ones, and one of them we found a bunch of new money, and obviously you find cell phones and all kinds of stuff that falls off the ski lift. But we found a bunch of new money, and come to find out it had been like resurfaced or something. So like I think the older stuff was down even further, like a couple of feet. So we didn't really find anything old, but we found, a pocket full of new money.
We should try the one in Flagstaff.
Yeah, I wonder if we could get in there somehow.
Yeah, y'all should find out. That would be neat.
Yeah.
I mean, just imagine what people lose in that snow.
Jewelry, money.
Oh yeah, because you're constantly pulling your gloves on and off on the ski lift and stuff, and people's rings would just come right off because their fingers are frozen and smaller than normal. So there you go.
Right. Just kind of like the water,
Oh,
Tim,
yeah. I actually, this is before I was even detecting, but I used to ski. Even when I lived in Iowa, we'd travel out to Colorado and ski every year. But I remember skiing with a couple friends, and this pair was married, and the girl had taken her glove off and dropped something. And Todd, my friend, had just kind of looked back at me and said, "Hey, she dropped something." And I just happened to be the only one that could ski down this path because it was right underneath the ski lift. And so as soon as we got off the ski lift, I just dropped down and went down and found it. But it's just an example of how easy it is to drop something off there. And of course, if it falls in the snow and it's not like a glove or a ski pole, it's going to be lost pretty quick.
Right. Definitely. So what's your favorite places to metal detect? Anywhere and everywhere?
Yeah, anywhere. Anywhere they'll let us. Our favorite places to metal detect.
Oh, yeah. My favorite places are, you know what I love detecting is exactly where we all hunted together with you in Texas.
Yeah.
And old
homesteads
and foundations, late 1800s type stuff. I just love it.
Yeah.
My favorite
That's
kind
my
of
favorite
coin stuff.
Something about those relics, like that little iron that I dug.
Oh, yeah.
I have that little iron. I have that little iron in my sewing room on the shelf in there. I cleaned it up. And yeah.
I found that iron the other day, and I thought of you. It was missing the handle, and I was like, I should mail this to Carlotta, but big old heavy iron, old rusty relic mail.
Yeah, I know it sounds crazy to some people because we get a lot of opportunities to hunt in Europe, and don't get me wrong, when you find a coin that's more than 2,000 years old or something, I mean, it's shocking and it's awesome. But there's just something about, it's just my favorite type of stuff are the more modern coins from the 1800s because they're, they learned how to make them perfectly round, and there was some sort of,
They're little works of art.
Yeah, they just, at that point, it was when they first made them where they could really get the artwork finely tuned, and it's just so incredible, you know. I just like those.
No, all of it has such fun, wonderful history to it, and stories and ideas, and you know, my favorite button was the one. My favorite button that I found was actually in Phoenix, at a site that I don't think is there anymore now, but it was an Indian Services button, a U.S. Indian Services Eagle button, which aren't very common. And so I've got a couple of those, and so
those are cool.
Those are my favorite buttons I found so far.
I don't mean this rude at all, but all your travels and stuff, Tim, and everything, all the places you've had the opportunity to detect, I find it very shocking that you're not kind of a snob. You know, I mean about your finds. But I mean, he's a super nice guy. I mean a snob when it comes to your finds. Like, I would think that some stuff would no longer really interest you, but that's really cool to hear that. It just sounds like you don't really care. You'll go hunt anywhere and do anything.
I like hunting anywhere because
even a weedy is exciting.
Yeah, if you're finding weedies, you know that there's a possibility that you could find something made out of silver at any moment. And it's like, I know that, you know, some people still have it in their bucket list to find, say, something like a mercury dime. And, you know, I probably can't count the number of those that I've found. But it's just, if I find one, I'm still super happy about it. I mean, I might not jump out of a tree or something, but
whatever.
Yeah, I'm starting to get older. But like if I find a barber or a seated coin, I mean, Gypsy was with me when I found a barber dime. I think that was the last time I found a barber dime, and I was totally thrilled. I was pumped about it. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was a great hunt. I look forward to seeing you in when is it? In March?
March.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it was March.
Yeah, and you need to. You should come out here and hunt with us sometime. I mean, we've got a couple spots here that we could take you to, and you know, you might not find anything from, you know, the Middle Ages or anything, but it's going to be kind of fun.
Hang out with us. We would love to have you guys.
That would be awesome. You know, I've been ever since the trip to Arizona, I've been wanting to go back. And one place I had saw on one of our tours, we got to go to the Grand Canyon, but we went on those little bus tours, and we passed by this place where I guess they shoot through in the water. And you know, I love to water hunt. It's probably one of my favorite things besides old homesteads. I guess my second favorite place is water hunt. And there's a place, I can't remember, not all that far from Sedona.
Was it in Sedona?
It was, kind of outside of Sedona, in between. We were going up kind of the mountains there, working our way to the Grand Canyon. And there was this place where they shoot through down these little, these natural places where the water.
I know exactly where you're talking about.
The water slide.
Yeah, it's like a natural water slide. And I was thinking,
yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that's a popular place. Yeah, but heck yeah, there'd probably be some stuff there.
Cold water, let me tell you.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I can imagine how
snow melt. I'll have to rent your wetsuit.
What about permission to hunt there, and how would you go about that, I wonder?
I don't know.
I think that's public land.
It might be just like a public park or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never been there personally.
We can research it some more.
Yeah, we need to find out. And then hopefully this summer, I would love to go back to Arizona. Besides Arizona, y'all mentioned earlier about the Charles Garrett Memorial Hunt, which is where I first met y'all. I know that'll be coming up again in March, and I'm really hoping to get Mike there. I'm thinking about, just traveling his way, picking him up on the way, and bringing bringing him along.
That'd be a great idea.
Yeah, hey, Mike, there's tons of spiders there at the
Great.
And snakes.
A lot
Super.
of snakes and spiders.
Oh, there were some alligators there, too.
Oh, yeah, there is alligators.
There really are alligators.
Hey guys,
Actually,
let's all go to Ohio in the fall and hunt. Let's do that. You like old homesteads? I can line us up so many farm fields where houses were that we can stay busy 24/7. No snakes, no spiders.
Oh yeah, that sounds awesome to me.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's.
I'm ready. I'm already.
I just came back. I've been back a month now, and I invited Gypsy to come back, but she couldn't make it this time. But I'll get her in Ohio. That's like my thing, and I'm more of a. Don't get me wrong, I love the old coins, but the relics are what really do it for me in Ohio. And Ohio's got a lot of history. Have you guys ever hunted Ohio?
I have not. I'd love to. I'd love to go with you guys.
I don't think so. I know I've been in Indiana and Iowa and Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I know you've been in Pennsylvania. Yeah, I know a lot of those, but I've never seen it in Ohio.
Kentucky and Tennessee and all those, but I don't know about Ohio. It seems like I don't remember ever going there for a show or anything.
Not that
Probably not.
Not that I know.
It sounds like a plan to me.
Yeah, I'm
It
down.
does.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it.
Yeah, maybe we could even invite KG if he's a good boy.
Yeah, we'll have to invite KG too. Now, Mike got back from a hunt there, and I know you found a flying eagle scent.
That is really. I mean, that besides relics, that's the only coin I found. It was really kind of disappointing. What happened is I had a farm field lined up that had 7 sites on it from like 1858 to 1880 something. One of them was a mill. Well, then I thought I would stay real busy there, but I took like 10 other places. In the county that I had. See, I went back to see family. My family went. Right. I wanted to stay real close to my mom's house and stuff because I knew, because I've got friends all over Ohio. I could have been up in Northeast Ohio, Northwest, Southeast, but I didn't want to travel. So I wanted to stay real close so I could get more detecting time in. And so I took other places. Well, a couple of them I couldn't track down the owners. I had 2 that were still in beans. They were in beans really late this year. But so I ended up with only this one field, and two of the sites I couldn't find. And then the one where the mill was all like industrial. And not that that's bad, but on a farm field like that, it's real typical where a house site was. You'll find a couple large scents, a bunch of buttons and relics, and usually a unique coin or two comes up. A matter of fact, my co-host for Tuesday that does the show with me Tuesday night, Matt Hoffman, he found a seeded half dime, and within minutes we had a competition going. We'd been trash talking each other for weeks. And I'm like, oh man, he just beat me. It's almost dark. And then I found the flying eagles. So it was kind of a tie, but yeah, it was cool. But I mean, like, don't get me wrong. I had fun. I had so much fun, but like, I didn't really get my fix because I didn't find the sites just didn't give up the relics and stuff like most would. And, but it was fun. I mean, I always have a good time field hunting. I can just do that forever. I miss it so much.
Yeah,
but,
that's just it. You never know what's in the ground. You never know what surprises are in store. It's all an adventure. The whole thing. Life's an adventure, and that's what makes it so much fun.
Matt is a big. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry. No, you go ahead, Mike. Go ahead, Matt.
I was just going to say Matt's a big coin hunter up in Northeast Ohio, and he has great luck. He's found some great stuff. I have to go hunt with him. I got to tell you something. I've been detecting around 20 years, and I think I have 2 Civil War tokens. I think he's been at it 7-8 years, and he said he'd have to count them, but somewhere around 40. The county he's in, yes, the county he is in, he finds Civil War tokens like crazy, and he's got some beautiful ones. It's common for him to go out and find one like nothing. I mean, it is crazy, and I would love to know the story of why there's so many Civil War store card tokens up there.
I think we should just go on up there, hog time, and just start hunting.
You know what? He would have no problem, and he's got what you'd call the gift of gab. You know, he's the type of guy you'd point out a house and he'll say, "I'll get us permission. Watch this." He's a talker, and he's a good guy. And but I've really gotten him into field hunting. Last year, or in the spring of this year, I overlaid a couple spots for him, and he got permission, and he didn't do real good. It's just like anything else, you know. You'll come across a couple sites and they don't really produce, or you know, you don't find them, or you find out that it, you know, dirt's been moved or whatever. But this fall he has hit a couple really good spots, and he's like, "Mike, I love it." You know, he's finding really unique stuff in the fields, and he's just blown away by it. So I'm really glad to see him. You know, like I told him, I said, field hunt when the crops are out, and then do your houses and stuff like that. But Ohio, I think, is really unique, and I've talked to some other people, not even from Ohio. We've had a guest on the show that once a year he goes to Ohio in the fall, and he goes, "I've never found stuff like I found in Ohio." It really is. It's a great state, and it's had a lot of stuff go on. But yeah, long story short, let's do it. Yeah. Exactly.
Get it on the books. If Tim can't go, that's fine. Well, I'll just go keep him company.
We'll send him pictures. I'll tell you what, with my son and kids and everything, it might be hard. If you guys ever want to make a trip to Ohio, I have some people that I would so hook you up with, would treat you like family, and take you to some incredible field sites. I would love to join you, and maybe that can happen sometime. But if you ever want to take a trip, I promise you I can hook you up. I know a lot of people in the hobby in Ohio. Good people.
Wonderful. That would be awesome.
Yeah, and I am sure Matt would be. When I told Matt that you guys were on tonight, he was really excited, and I'm sure he would take you out, and he's awesome. He's a great hunter. He's knows a lot of places. I've taught him how to overlay. He's got a lot of sites lined up. I've got friends in Southern Ohio, and I got friends in Southern Ohio that use Garrett's that would even use Garrett's. So there you go. Matt, on the other hand, Matt has a Garrett, but he's got probably 10 detectors. He's got a little bit of everything and uses a little bit. He's one of those guys.
Yeah.
KG and I, especially me, I mean, we started out with all kinds of different things. And I mean, way back in I don't know if it was the early 90s or late 80s or something. I think my first machine was like that. It was like a big metal box, like a Coin Master 3000 or something like that. I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, we tried all kinds of different things, and I just remember when George and I first met and decided we were going to get something, we ended up getting the GTI 2500, and that was just the one after we did all this research, it's that big green monster, and it was just awesome because back then they don't have it anymore, but they had this girl's voice that would talk to you and say, "Oh, that's a quarter at 3 inches deep."
Right? Every man wants to hear the woman talk to him, right?
Yeah, it was awesome. I actually still have my original one. It's pretty awesome.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's funny. Hey, speaking of that, I mean, this hobby, how do I say it, has, to me, somebody that's been in it a while, it's gotten a little bit crazy and a lot of brand loyalty and stuff. Do you ever find yourself like having to defend your detector and stuff? And I mean, do you run into issues like that?
Well, every once in a while, somebody will say, "Oh, I use a Mind Lab, and if I went up against you, I'd kick your butt or whatever." You get idiots like that making comments all the time. But when George and I started ATC, AnacondaTreasure.com, our website and stuff, we started that, and one of our main, tenets of whatever on our site was that, we're not putting up with any of that kind of crap, and we don't care what machine you're using. If you want to come on our site or whatever, this is all about having fun and going out and hunting.
Yeah.
And we used Garrett at the time. We weren't sponsored by Garrett when we first started. We just happened to use Garrett. But, then you get all these people that were all, Mind Lab, Whites, whatever, Fisher, and it's like anybody that has a brain knows that every single one of these companies makes a machine that's going to find something. They're all good. It's just whatever fits your personality and works best for you or whatever you get used to. And we just wouldn't put up with any of that kind of stuff on our site, and we still don't. It's just a thing like, we enjoy the hobby and finding history so much. It's like, I don't care what kind of machine you're using.
Right.
It doesn't matter to me.
It aggravates me when, I'll give you a quick example. In the last few months, I kicked somebody off of our Facebook group. Somebody had come in and said that they were talking about buying an AT Pro. And I said, great detector. And somebody that I had never seen before chimed in, I thought you said you wanted a good detector. And me and this guy got into an argument. And I said, how can you put down, look, you might not like the AT Pro. We all have our favorites. We all have, there's detectors out there that are well known that I don't like personally, but I don't put them down because I know they find stuff. I know people that love them and do good with them. But how are you going to say the AT Pro is this and that when it has more than proven itself, and you get that mentality sometimes. I would guess that a lot of people wouldn't do that kind of stuff to you, which is good, but I do see a lot of that in the hobby, and it drives me mad. The guy I said that I know in Southern Ohio that uses an AT Pro, when I met that guy, this is no kidding, he was using a toy detector. It was like a $30 detector he won in a Christmas party. One of those gift exchanges. He's probably 6 foot tall. He's bent over. And at the time I didn't have a spare detector. And I felt horrible for him. I didn't make fun. I would never make fun. I'll hunt with anybody with anything. I don't care. And we went field hunting, and this guy taught me something, because with that $30 detector, he was mostly finding iron, but he was finding some really good iron. Like, I'm sitting here with a $1,500 detector. Like, how in the heck did he just dig that? One was a musket ball barrel off of a pistol. He found some really
with
cool
all stuff that we would have walked over. I didn't.
Yes, he taught me a lesson.
Yeah.
This guy, brand new to the hobby with a $30 metal detector, taught me a very valuable lesson, and it's so much more about passion and enjoying yourself than what you swing. And so I find a lot of that in the hobby, and I was just wondering, if you've ran into anything with that, and I'm glad to hear not much.
Not really, not anymore. Right when the right when we very first came out, when diggers first hit the airwaves and stuff, there were a few people saying, oh, blah, 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 those detectors or whatever, but it ended really quickly. Obviously, we found a few things with them.
Yeah. I'm not loyal to any brand or anything. And honestly, I have an AT Pro and I don't use it very often, but it is, I don't think, in my opinion, it has changed the hobby. I remember when the AT Pro came out, and as far as I'm concerned, if you really wanted to go find deep silver coins, you had to spend over $1,000 to be consistent. And the AT Pro come out, and it allowed a lot of people to enter the hobby at a lot more affordable price and do what some of those really expensive detectors were doing. As far as I'm concerned, there was nothing in that price range. And still, right. The AT Pro at that price range is, this new Pro package. It's a killer detector.
Pretty incredible.
It has changed the hobby, absolutely, for the better. So when somebody talks about it like that and is so rude, it's like, what are you talking about? How can you say something like that, And I don't care, like I said, it doesn't have to be for you, but how can you, take away what this detector has accomplished and so many people have accomplished with it? It just drives me crazy.
Yeah, it drives us all crazy. And, there's always going to be a few bad apples that ruin it for everybody else. But it's just, I'd say most of the people, especially most of the fans that follow us and stuff, they know what KG and I are like. We just want to go out and have fun. We don't claim to be the greatest treasure hunters on the planet or anything. We found a lot of stuff, but so would you guys if somebody sent you to these places that were incredible. You'd find stuff too.
Right.
And, we've been real lucky and we've just had a great time. We just love digging up old stuff and thinking about who last touched this coin and, from 1875.
Or who wore the button and what were they doing?
Yeah. So it's all about that for us. And yeah, are we sponsored by Garrett? Heck yeah, we are now. And we believe in their stuff because it's awesome. You think about the new package they have out right now. Speaking of the AT Pro, you can get that AT Pro with the smaller coil on it. It's at some ridiculous price, like $400 and some dollars or whatever.
Somewhere around $450. Yeah, you're right. That's amazing.
Yeah, $480. I don't even know what it is.
$488.
There you go. Thank you. And for that kind of money for a waterproof machine that you can, that's an incredible machine for that kind of money. When, like you said, you used to have to go out and spend $1,200, $1,500 for something that would find stuff like that.
Let's a lot more people who don't have a lot of funds get a good machine and get out there and start joining in and having fun and going to these events, and participating and didn't have to spend $1 bazillion.
Yes.
Not everybody has that kind of money.
What really impressed me was I used to use an E-Track and then a CTX, and I met a guy in the town I lived, and I knew those detectors in and out. I used to sell detectors, and I was a big Mine Lab fan, and I'd sold them all over the country, and I would I put out a couple videos explaining some of the settings and how things work, and I would get calls all over the country. I was knowledgeable on these detectors. I logged a lot of hours, and I met a guy in the town I lived in. He bought an AT Pro. I knew really nothing about it at the time. And him and I started hunting together. And you know how it is when you're with somebody new, you're constantly comparing targets. And one of our our listeners have heard this, so I'll try to make it quick. I was following behind him in a curb strip and an 1850s era little community, little section, little plat. And I'm following him, and there's so many signals you can imagine in this curb strip. And he missed a deep, good target with other targets all around it. And I said, hey, come back here. Did you miss this, or will the detector not pick it up? And I suspected that the detector wouldn't pick it up because it was deep, other targets around it. And at about 8-9 inches, he walked back and he hit it perfect. I gave him the area, and he just hit it perfect, and we dug it, and it was a token, an old token that was like 8 or 9 inches down. But after that, I mean, that time after time again, that detector just impressed me. Targets, coins, deep coins with iron near it, other targets around it. And sometimes I would find that it would actually hit better than my E-Tracker CTX. It would actually sound better. So that detector is so impressive to me.
And another thing is the user too. I mean,
it takes practice.
You can't expect to buy something like that and learn how to use it overnight. I mean, any of these detectors, you have to spend a lot of hours and figure out what a coin next to a axe head sounds like. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I need more practice.
Yeah.
I need more practice.
You're doing pretty good. You crushed me in Australia. I don't know what you were thinking.
But another quick thing, and we can move past it. One more thing to say about it. Yeah, you've got to learn whatever you're using, but I think the AT Pro has to be one of the easiest detectors to learn. I mean, it's a very simple.
It's one of the easiest detectors I've ever used in my life. I mean, you turn it on, and you can just hunt with it in factory mode if you wanted to, and really find stuff. But I mean, a couple quick settings for me, and bam, I'm ready to go. It is pretty amazing. And for lazy slobs like me, it's super awesome.
Right, you just turn it on and go. It's simple, and I've always told people it's a workhorse. It's not, I don't get me wrong. I love a detector that you can really change up and customize to you. But if you want just a workhorse that'll get the job done, that's easy to use, the AT Pro, that's it, man. It's a workhorse, and it's simple. And I think it's great.
Not everybody's a computer programmer or a tech geek that really enjoys sitting around playing with all the different settings and stuff.
Right.
I mean, before I did this, I was actually a computer programmer, and I appreciate all the different things that these machines do. But, I kind of did that for a living, and I really don't want to spend a bunch of time, working on my own programs and stuff like that. I just want to turn it on and go find some stuff,
Right.
And so I'm kind of happy with the way this worked for me. But
hey, let's take a quick second here. I completely forgot, and I bet Gypsy kind of did too. Gypsy, you have some announcements.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Well, one announcement is on my YouTube channel, giving away the brand new Garrett AT Pro Sport package.
You're giving away the whole package?
Yeah, the full package.
Awesome.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Maybe I'm going to enter that contest.
Yeah,
you should enter that. I think you should. So, I got to go up and meet Mrs. Garrett the other day, and they sent me home. We did a little filming there, and for the new sport package, and I was in a little video there explaining about the new sport package, and they sent me home with a new machine for me to play with, and then they also mailed me one for us to give away. So for any of you listeners that want to enter, you can go to Zero Discrimination YouTube channel and enter there. That'll get you one entry when you comment below on the giveaway contest drawing. And then also you can go to Mike and I and Matt to the All Metal Mode podcast and join the podcast Facebook page there. And you can enter the contest under the video there. And then you can also go to Digger's Den, which Mike and I and our good friend Brian Harvey are all part of the Digger's Den team. And you can enter the contest there as well. And one more entry, if you want to, and there's more. You can go to my Zero Discrimination Facebook page and enter there as well. So y'all be sure and share with your friends. So we're giving away the Garrett AT Pro package along with, I think there's a Garrett, some gold pans. These are all separate giveaways. We're giving away 10 items. There's a $50, I think it's a $50 Digger's Den gift card. There is...
I think a silver UMax, right?
There's a silver UMax, a Tesoro silver UMax, so 2 detectors. And there's a Garrett AT pinpointer. And what else is there, Mike? Do you remember offhand?
Aren't you doing a hoodie?
I'm doing a what? I'm sorry.
Aren't you doing a hoodie?
A hoodie, yes. Zero Discrimination hoodie and coffee mug. And, oh my goodness, some Digger's Den, I think a few Digger's Den stickers and stuff like that, along with some...
Oh, I want stickers.
Yes. And what are those pencils called that you can rub on?
Oh, yeah. I want a set of those.
Clean your
Yeah,
I've seen those. Those are really cool.
Yes.
I've seen those pencils and sets for cleaning coins. I've seen quite a few people using those.
Yeah, so we're giving away, I think, a set of those. And
I wear your zero discrimination T-shirt all the time.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Andre's pencils. I'm sorry.
Andre, yeah, that's it.
I couldn't remember.
So, yeah,
either.
we've got a great giveaway going on. So we will be drawing the day after Christmas. So for those of you listeners that are interested in entering, we have that. One other thing, I put out a new video today for Colorado. I won't be all that far from y'all, I guess.
Yeah, you'll be I think it's about an 8 or 9 hour drive from here to where you're going to be.
Oh, that's still a little far. That's a long drive. But yeah, I'll be in Denver, Colorado with Nugget Noggin, Wayne Nugget Brain, and Terry Carter. If y'all haven't checked out his YouTube channel, amazing YouTube channel. And Jim Very Low, which he's a amazing treasure hunter too. We'll have to talk to him about getting him on the show as well. But
so what is it? What is it in Colorado? What is the event?
So we will be at the Watts booth at the International Sportsman Expo.
Awesome.
And we're going to be giving away, I think, some metal detectors and some other great prizes as well. So if anyone's in that area, just be sure and come by and see us. And that will be January the 10th through the 13th. And I think that's the only announcements I've got.
Yes, and then I have an announcement. I would like to say it kind of came last minute and kind of came on us unexpected. I will have... Oh, geez, hold on. My mind's drawing a blank. I am horrible with names, and I just feel horrible at this second. I'm sorry, Mr. Randall Sullivan on tomorrow night. I believe, if I understand it correctly, he's written the official book on Oak Island. And he's a big part of that. Yeah, it kind of came up last minute. I really have to do my research. I'm going to have to be honest with you. We've been trying to get him scheduled in, and we had some dates wrong and stuff, and we weren't going to have him on for a while, and he thought he was going to be on today. His publicist, I believe, told him it was today, and I said, sorry, we got some really big people coming on tonight. We can't move them. Sorry. And, no, I'm kidding. I said, hey, we have guests tonight, and can we do it later? And he's like, when would you like to do it? And I said, how's your schedule tomorrow? He said, I'll make time. Really nice guy. We had a nice chat on Skype, and so yeah, he'll be on tomorrow night, so that's good. Hey, you guys, sorry about that. I want to know, okay, you've traveled all over. You've made, I'm sure, just so many friends and so many cool finds. Have you had any bad travel experiences?
Are we allowed to say?
Well, yeah, we've had all kinds of crazy things happen to us. Just recently, we were coming back from Sicily, and we knew we had like a 30 hours of travel ahead of us, so we tried to get to sleep early and everything, and you get up at 3 a.m. to make it to the airport, and we get there, and our flight, no explanation, whatever, it's canceled, our flight to Rome. So
Whoa.
KG and I were sitting there, and then some of the other guys that we knew like a couple hours later show up, and there they are sitting there. They walk in, walk right onto their plane, get on and take off. And of course we're still sitting there. And then we fly to Rome. And I think at that point, everybody had left. It was just me, KG, and Jocelyn. And that was it. And so we get on a plane, whatever plane they put us on. We get to Rome, and we're sprinting through the airport trying to get to the plane, and we finally get to the desk, and they're like, oh, we've been looking for you guys. And we check our luggage in, through customs and everything. And then we get up to the thing, and they go, well, it's so late that you're going to have somebody escort you out to the plane. So they send us through security in a special line and everything. And then we get through there, and they're like, well, you have to go to the gate now. And we take off running, and we get to this escalator and a sign, and we think, okay, here, we finally made it. And we go up the stairs, and there's a train there. It's another little tram to the next, terminal. And we finally get there, and there's somebody standing, some girl in those airline outfits. And she's standing in this giant hallway saying, are you so-and-so? And we're like, yes. And they're like, we're holding the door open. You've got to go now. They just go, give us your passports and just go. So literally, we're just so stressed and totally soaked in sweat from running. And we finally made it on the plane, though. And that's just one example. And I can't even count the number of times like George and I have just run through airports to the point where like your chest hurts because you're breathing so hard and stuff. And it doesn't happen that often, but it happens,
Yeah, my big butt would have.
Subways and luggage and.
Oh, we've had to drag all our gear up and down. Like there's no.
Just the two of us with
elevator.
A giant bag up and down these stairs, trying to get on tiny little no room.
Yeah, the tubes in England, trying to get to the Heathrow. Yeah, it's a nightmare sometimes. And I just thought of one. There was something that happened that was just crazy. Now it just popped out of my mind. Maybe it'll come back to me eventually. But it was bizarre.
question about traveling and stuff. So I'm getting ready to go for the Christmas holidays traveling, and I just packed my suitcase today. And I've never had, knock on wood, I've never had trouble with, luggage. I always pack my metal detectors, and I don't carry on. I check them because usually I fly Southwest. But, I have this fear of my metal detectors. Those are my pride and joy right there.
Your babies.
We usually carry the brains with us.
Y'all carry them on? Your detectors, or do you check them?
Yeah, you can carry them on if you want to, but
Yeah.
it's just easier to check them. We break them down, and we always break them down completely, because if you leave the brain connected to the stem,
Yeah.
TS, they can be really rough with the stuff. So, you gotta,
Right.
when they go, it's not the fact that they throw your suitcase around, because you pack it probably pretty good. It's when they unpack it to examine it and then shove everything back in and jam it
just
closed.
shove it back in. Yeah.
Yeah, then they
And,
break the stuff. So you need to
I've done
take
a
the
lot of
brain
travel.
off. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I always break, take mine apart and stuff. And I remember the last time I flew to Florida, and I guess I didn't rinse my detector well enough, and I had a hard time pulling it apart because of the sand in there. But anyway, I had to give it a little bath before I got back on my flight back to try to get it apart. But anyway, yeah, I guess it's just been a fear of mine, because, if you get you get over there and you're ready to detect, I've always had this fear of my luggage getting lost, and there I wouldn't be able to metal detect, and that's, my highlight of my trip.
Right. Yeah, and that can be, a lot of times we'll take the brain and just throw them in our backpacks, so you've at least got that. And if you had to, you could always just go to a shop or something, but that would be a nightmare to have to do that. But luckily, we haven't totally lost everything, and usually the places we go are with other people or dealers that, have backup equipment if they need it. So it's not too bad. But the key to it is to make sure that your stuff is clean and broken down, and then you won't get hassled or get it broken.
Yep.
I'm sorry. Go
ahead.
I was just going to...
You go, Mike. Sorry.
I'm changing the subject, so you finish up what you were saying. I apologize.
No, I was just going to say that, that's one of the things, like when I owned my metal detecting business in Galveston, I would have people that would visit there in the summer. And in fact, I remember I had this guy that was visiting from Colorado, and he came down every year, and he brought like 2 or 3 mine labs with him. And one year was the worst year for him. And all 3, something bad happened with his machine.
Oh, wow.
And so he ended up actually renting machines from me. And so I guess I saved his little detecting trip. So I think he rented the Garrett Sea Hunter because he was mainly a water hunter. But anyway, I had that happen a few years ago. I went to Florida, and my coil went bad on me, and I wasn't sure at first. That was my first instinct, was it was my coil, and I ended up having to call a local dealer, and luckily he had a coil in stock and bought that from him. And then the next year, my detector, something happened, I guess maybe with all the traveling, my detector went out, so I ended up renting a machine from him the next year. So,
that's rough.
Yeah. But luckily, it was close enough that there was a dealer there that I could do that. But this time I'm bringing 2 detectors. I'm bringing my Max and my Pro. So we shall see.
In the Bahamas ought to be awesome. Can't wait to hear what you find there.
Hopefully.
When she,
even if you don't find anything, just being in the Bahamas for Christmas,
right?
You know,
right.
It's awesome.
I'm bringing my little snorkel mask thing, so we'll see. Do some shallow water hunting anyway.
She texted me
that'll be fun.
Yeah, she texted me that she was going to the Bahamas, and I just texted back, pirate treasure. Hopefully. Tim, I've got a question. Okay, I've watched your guys' shows. I know you travel. I've heard stories and seen stuff, and you know, for guys like me who might never get to travel to all these far away places that so many of us dream and hunt some of these places in the United States that some of us would never have the opportunity, and lay in bed and dream about hunting beside you guys. Tell us more I want to hear all the bad stuff. I want
more bad stuff.
Yeah, I want to get away from laying in, waking up to dreams like, oh, I wish I was really hunting with them there.
Well,
I want to.
I can.
Mosquitoes.
Yeah, we just got back from Sicily, and I remember when we first got there, we checked in and everything, and Steve from Garrett was there, and KG, and we walked out into this back field area, and we were just detecting, and they had this weird breed of mosquito there. They had regular ones, but they had these other, whatever they were, African tiger mosquitoes. I don't know what they were. And I got immediately, like, I had gloves on, and I could feel my thumb just burning. I'm like, what's wrong with my thumb? And I took off my glove, and my thumb was nearly twice as big as it should have been.
Whoa.
And it just, I never felt it or saw it or anything. It just started burning. And then all of a sudden, right under my left eye starts burning. And I'm like, oh, crap. And I'm like, I'm out of here. I don't care if there's a box of gold buried out here. I'm done with this. And I went back to the room, and just kind of to regroup and get some more bug spray and stuff. But I had a welt on my face the size of a silver dollar.
The giant spider in
Oh, yeah. I was in
coconut spider, whatever it was.
Yeah, I was in
St. Croix. Right?
St. Croix, yeah, St.
That's
Croix.
when he left me in the snow.
Yeah, so I'm in there, and I'm getting up for a day of shooting. We shot a show there, and I wake up, my phone goes off, so I'm getting out of bed, and I'm getting ready to put my feet on the floor, and I just kind of sense something moving, and I look down, and there's a big orange hairy spider as bigger than my hand, and it's like super tall, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me, and I panicked, and like I just immediately jumped out of bed and grabbed my hunting boot and just crushed it. And it sounded like I was killing a small animal. And come to find out, they're like really good spiders that are good for the environment or whatever. But I'm half asleep and I didn't know what was happening. I thought I was about to die. So
right. Could you imagine waking up to it in your bed?
Oh, yeah, it on my face or whatever.
Right.
But so that's in my room, and lizards and stuff, they don't bother me, but they're all over the place. The animals being attacked by stuff. One time we were shooting a show. No, we were doing a Make-A-Wish thing, KG and I, out on the East Coast, and we hunted this area, and we got into some of these little minute ticks,
Ooh.
And I hate ticks worse than anything.
Right.
I just hate it. And literally some guy that was the host or whatever, and me and KG went into this garage, after we realized we had like hundreds of ticks crawling all over us, and they were the size of pinheads, tiny little things. And I'm in this garage, and I stripped down naked, and I was freaking out and like throwing my clothes off. And I mean, they were all over us. It was just, I hate that kind of thing. And Carlotta and I were hunting in Texas.
Oh yeah,
one year,
tick house.
And we call it the Texas Tick House because we found this abandoned house in the middle of the jungle somewhere there. And I'm in there, and I pull out a couple of big coins. They're tokens, size of silver dollars, and I'm having this great time. And I realize I get out of the woods, and I've got like 12 ticks embedded in me. And
my gosh.
You know, I'm like in the shower when we got back, and they're in the car, and it's just miserable, you know. So that part of it is not good. And that same island where the spider was in my room, that same place we were hunting inland at this old ruins, and there were just, for whatever reason, this ruins happened to be perfect for all these wasps, and they were everywhere around this thing. So we're trying to hunt, and every time we'd have to stop shooting scenes because there would be wasps in front of the lens of the camera. They'd be everywhere, you know, in our faces and stuff. And I was a nervous wreck the entire time. And then the guide that took us out there got stung. And then our producer got stung in the face. And I was just like, is this worth it? You know what I mean? I'm like, it's just constantly on edge, you know? So that part is not good. The airplane travel can be a nightmare. Sometimes it's great. I gotta give props to Qantas Airlines, the one that flies to Australia, because both trips I've made over there, I mean, they have enough space where you can, you know, at least not be cramped, and, you know, you can get up and walk back and there's like candy and stuff just sitting there waiting for you. It's pretty awesome. But
that is awesome. Other
than that, you know, it can be pretty miserable. And lost luggage. Oh, here's something you'll appreciate. You want to hear bad stuff? George and I were doing a National Metal Detecting Day. We were giving a speech in Santa Barbara, and it was between shooting a couple of shows, and so we flew out to Santa Barbara, and of course none of our luggage shows up. And the next day we're out there with you know, Jeff Notkin from Meteor Men. He was out there. He gave a talk as well, but we were scheduled to go on whenever. It was either right before him or right after him. And we went back to the room and checked, and sure enough, no luggage had shown up. So basically, we went up on the stage and gave our talk and stuff, and I'm in a filthy, dirty Corona beer T-shirt because I have no clothes, you know.
Oh my!
So that was, I'm unshaven, you know. I have nothing, you know. And so right after the talk, we went back to the gift shop and just bought like Santa Barbara T-shirts, you know, so we could at least put something on.
Oh, that's funny.
And then my stuff showed up, and then we had to fly to Kentucky or wherever it was that next show, and George's stuff still hadn't shown up. He went all the way to Kentucky, and the luggage had to follow him all the way there, so he never had anything until we got there. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be horrible. Still, I mean, you still haven't crushed my dreams, though. I'm going to be honest. It still all sounds worth it. Other than the running, I'm a fat guy. I'm not running. I mean, I'll just miss my flight and get later. I'm not. I mean, I might jog, but I'm not sprinting. That's never going to happen unless it's a snake. I might sprint away from a snake, but that's about it. Yeah, ticks. I really never. I'm not a fan of ticks, but. I have become more concerned with them. Bill's in our chat tonight. He goes by, he's always in there. Great guy. Bill Marsh is in southeastern Ohio. Great relic hunter, AT Pro user. He got Lyme disease. I think he said like almost 10 years ago, and he's still fighting it. Still, yeah.
Yeah, that's a horrible thing. I mean, bad things can happen with ticks, and that's why I hate them so much, because you can't see them and all that. And then, you know, on top of that, I'm extremely allergic to poison ivy, and, you know, George can eat it in a salad and it wouldn't bother him. So he just wanders into any place. And I, on the other hand, we shot a show in New Orleans. I don't know if you remember that show, but it was the one where we found our one and only American gold coin. But we had the, at the end of our shows, most of the time we have these bet payoffs, and I happened to win that show, and George had to, basically pull me around in a chariot through Bourbon Street in New Orleans. And I was, people saw us filming there. And of course the people in the bars would run out with these drinks and give them to us for free. And so I'm having a good old time. And it was obviously that's at the end of the week and everything. But I remember as I was drinking that, sitting there and we were shooting those last scenes, I thought, my wrist kind of hurts. It's like burning. And I looked down and it's all red and stuff. And I thought, it's no biggie. Maybe I got into a little patch of poison ivy or something. And it turns out it was like the second or third worst case I ever had. By the time I got my luggage packed and was getting on the airplane, I was blistering. Both my arms all the way up to the shoulders were just big red sores and horrible stuff. And apparently I climbed a few trees in the swamp down New Orleans. So it's like, I'm sure that I got onto something, I had a t-shirt on, which was stupid, but it happens. So I've had, I can't even count the number of bouts of poison ivy, just.
I've got two great stories that involve ticks, and which is funny, but I gotta share real quick, and I'll make it quick. The first one, I was very young, teenager, maybe 19, 20 years old, down hunting, deer hunting in southern Ohio, staying at my family's cabin. Middle of winter, I wake up the next morning, and like any man does, we scratch ourselves, right? Something wasn't right, and I had 2 ticks on my junk. And that was, like, to have a tick on you is bad, but when it's on your junk, it is, I can't even describe, like, the freak out I had, I'm down there with my brother running around, get the ticks off, it was horrible.
Oh, bad visual.
And then, it was ugly. And then I went to Virginia probably 10 years ago, metal detecting. And you couldn't walk in the woods for 5 minutes and not come out with 20 ticks. We're spraying down and nothing's working. It is horrible. We're driving back. We leave Virginia, me and my friend, and we drive straight through. I'm in a rest stop just in the Ohio border. And I go in, and I've got to use the bathroom. I've got to sit down and use the bathroom. And my friend left, and I had noticed there was a guy in there. I'm 6'3", 330 pounds. This guy had to be 6'7", 6'8", 300 pounds. Like, you notice him. And I'm sitting there doing my business, and I look down, and there's a tick on my leg. So I'm working on getting this tick off my leg, and then I notice boots underneath my stall. And I am in no mood at this. We've been driving for hours. I'm picking a tick off my leg, and I'm alone in the bathroom with this great big dude who's got his boots facing me under my stall. So I just think to myself, I'm gonna get this tick off me. I'm gonna finish my business, and I'm gonna kick this door on him so hard and just beat the crap. Because you don't do that, you don't put your feet under a man's stall. And he was on the outside. He wasn't in the stall next door. That's creepy. That's just, there's no good coming of this. You know what I mean? So, well, luckily my friend,
helping you with that tick check.
Yeah. Well, luckily my friend come back in, and so that guy left, and I was like, man, I'm so glad you came back in. But why? He's like, that guy was creepy. He said, I walked out, got halfway to the truck, and thought something ain't right with that guy. And I was like, you're right. He was, I might have just about got molested. I'm not sure. So those are my tick stories. That's my 2 tick stories.
Those are pretty awesome tick stories.
Right? Right.
Yeah.
I like them.
One thing to have a tick, but to have it there is
have it on your dangly bitch. Oh.
Yeah,
insult to injury. Yeah.
Yeah,
Very
that
scary.
was horrible.
Oh my gosh.
Traumatizing and they were huge, like they'd been feasting all night, and that was horrible.
Oh,
Yeah.
This is awesome. See, now I'm going to have nightmares about that.
Right. You're welcome. You're welcome. So,
yeah, in the summers going metal detecting, usually in East Texas area, I used to come home with all kinds of ticks on me. But this last year, for some reason, it was chiggers. I came back and I was scratching around my ankles and my legs, and I'm like, what is this? And finally I figured out, it's chiggers. It was awful. It took forever to get it up. But yeah, the things we do for metal detecting.
It's insane.
I grew up on a farm, and I always thought I was tough, and then you meet somebody like Gypsy who gets out there and she'll fight the ticks, the snake. Her getting in water in Texas with all the poisonous snakes and filming it. Like, she makes me feel not so manly. She really does. And I love that about her. Like she's like, well, there's snakes and ticks and leeches, but there might be some stuff in that water I'm heading in. And I'm just like, no, I'll pass. That stuff can stay in that water. I'm fine with
bacteria.
Yep. That's the way I think about poison ivy. Like, George will just walk into the certain places, and I'll look at the surrounding foliage, and I'll be like, nope, not going in there. Don't care what's in there.
I've never had problems with poison ivy or poison oak, luckily, but I know people that do that. It sounds like you get it really bad, and that's no fun. No fun.
Oh yeah, I dug a fence row up once in a hot. I was born in Iowa. I dug up this fence row, and I was in jorts, which I always wear, and I had no shirt on. And I'm out there sweating. It's 90 some degrees, and I dig up this whole fence row, and I couldn't see any plants, but it's in the roots too. And so I dug this whole thing up, and apparently there was poison ivy all along the thing. And that was my worst case, because I had no clothes on, basically, and I'm covered in sweat and poison ivy. And like a couple days later, I was literally in my easy chair. Like, one of my eyes was completely swollen shut. And I mean, it was on my face, and it was where you really don't want it to be.
Right.
And there was nowhere off limits, and it was a complete nightmare. And I was on serious drugs. And I remember that, a few weeks later, a George Foreman grill showed up, and apparently I was on so many drugs in the middle of the night, I ordered it, and I didn't remember it.
He's on the home shopping network.
Oh, that's funny.
That's hilarious.
That is too funny.
So Wayne in the chat was saying that, I think he lived in Arizona for a while too, and he got hit by a scorpion, zapped him, and he swelled up like a grapefruit. So do y'all encounter a lot of scorpions there in Arizona where you live?
Yeah, I see them.
I've come across a few. I've probably seen a few more than Tim.
Yeah.
Usually if I've been out prospecting, and when we're out digging, anytime we move rocks, there's scorpions. But we were out, we had a little nugget shoot and coin hunt with the kids and adults in one of our prospecting events. And sure enough, move a rock, because it's a little planted area, where they try to keep us out of as much cactus as possible. And, popped out a little scorpion. Of course, the little kids are like, oh, I want to see. And they're out there chasing this scorpion. It's like, well, I'm not sure you want to do that. But, but there's little teeny ones, and there's great big ones. There's some that are big as my hand out here. We see a lot of ones. We see quite a few that are about 2 inches long, and you can go out with a black light at night in the summer, and you can find them at night. They glow under a black light, so you can actually go out.
That's neat. That's neat. Yeah, where I grew up in. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, as you were saying the black light, Wayne was putting that in chat. Go out with a black light at night, and you'll be surprised how many scorpions you'll find. That's too funny. Yeah.
Yeah. So is Wayne still in Arizona?
No, he's in Colorado now.
Oh, darn. He can come play with
us.
Scorpions, snakes. I don't like where this conversation has gone at all. Ticks.
But the snakes here will warn you in advance. They make noise. They rattle. They let you know. Don't come around. They don't want to attack you. We've seen a lot of rattlesnakes. We'll be out here on the trail in the summer going for a walk, and we saw 7 rattlesnakes one evening.
Yeah, just on one walk.
Yeah.
7 of them.
Wow, that's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I'm like, I get that they have a purpose, and I don't want to hurt them, or I just don't want to see them. I don't want to be around them. I don't want to see them.
Snake boots are your friend.
Right.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of scorpions where we live, but where I grew up in West Texas, there were a lot more scorpions than there are where I currently live in Texas. But, my son and I were out arrowhead hunting in the neighborhood the other day, and he lifted up, a rock, and there was a scorpion. But not as many as you used to see.
Well, I think the fire ants there in Texas took care of a lot of stuff on the ground.
Oh, that's God. True. I've got a good fire ant story here. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead.
No,
I'd never
gotten into those things.
I never knew of fire ants. I didn't. So I moved to Texas, and I'm a fat guy from Ohio, so I'm in shorts and a t-shirt. That's how I live year round in Texas. And I'm out walking the dogs, and I don't know what it is, but it took me about 20 scars on my feet to realize, hey, I really got to be careful because these things are nasty. And so I've got all these marks, these little scars on my feet and ankles now. And forever, Steph would laugh at me, and she's like, I've gotten into the fire ants, and they've never gotten me. You're she calls me all kinds of names and says I'm a sissy and everything else. Well, one day she got out of the truck and stepped right into a pile of fire ants. And this time she didn't have socks and shoes on. She just had sandals. And she cried like a little girl for a couple days over her couple little bites. And so I got my, I was no longer a big sissy. But yeah, those fire ants are brutal. And they just seem to find you. Yeah.
Well, I was in, I don't know if you know where Victoria, Texas is down there toward, Cuero, Victoria. I was down visiting my aunt who had an 800-acre ranch down there. So we're out there. It had a big storm, and the waters had come up and everything had receded. So we were out in the pastures in the Jeep running around, and I spot an armadillo. So what do? I jump out of the Jeep, and I have to catch this little armadillo because why? Because I can. So I run out there, I scoop up this little armadillo, and he was so cute. It was a boy. It was a little boy. And so I scoop him up, and when I did this, I brushed up against some bushes. And what I didn't realize at that time was fire ants float. So they had floated up with the waters, and they were all over these bushes after the water had receded. And I had them down my shirt, on my head, everywhere. My aunt and her husband are like, well, just take your shirt off. I'm like, I'm not wearing a bra. I am not taking my shirt off. So I'm suffering with these fire ants in my clothes, holding this armadillo for pictures, So that was my exciting experience with fire ants.
They're ugly. They're tiny.
Right. They're nasty little buggers.
Guys, we've had you on for 2 hours. I don't want to keep you too much longer. We so appreciate you hanging out with us, but I do have a question. I would be curious it's for both of you. tell us about some of your most meaningful finds. Like what I have found is, out of all the stuff I've found, some of my favorite finds, I'm not talking value. Tell me some things that you found that just really, touched you, or something about it was really special. Do you guys have any of those that you can think of?
Oh, I do. I don't know about Tim, because, he never finds anything. But when I got to go to Mississippi, and actually I hunted with Lance LaFan. He was there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was there. We were at Champion Hill, which is a Civil War site on some private land that we were invited out to. And on that, we'd hunted several areas, but at Champion Hill there, finding that button off the uniform. I found some small, like, cuff buttons, and of course the larger coat buttons. And just for me, just finding that button, I stop and I think about that person, what was going on in that moment. I'm sure they were probably terrified and cannons firing and bullets flying and the suffering and what happened at that moment when he lost that button. Did he live? Did he die? And it just makes you think. And it's one of those moments like that saying, as long as someone reads your tombstone, you'll never be forgotten. It's almost like, even though I don't know this person, I don't know their name, I know nothing about them other than they were there at that moment in time. And it just makes you pause and think. And that memory for that one in particular really kind of hit home for me in that moment. It's that button and what that person went through in that time. We can't even begin to fathom what they went through and the suffering and just amazing to me. And the people that survived and lived and the pictures and the things that all came out of that time. And so, yeah, and I watched a series, I think it was a PBS series. I think it's available on Netflix or one of those. It's called Death in the Civil War. And while it's not a happy story, it really shows you a lot of stuff and what was coming out of that and the horrors of war and our country. And I don't know, that button kind of ties all that together for me. So that's mine.
I love that story.
Yeah. That's awesome. I don't think I can top that.
Have you ever, I don't know about you guys, I have found myself, I wouldn't say depressed, but metal detecting and find certain things, and it almost brings you down. I guess better word would be, it humbles me and makes me think about their life and what was going on and stuff. And I love that story, Carlotta.
So you've been drinking beer like we have, right?
No, actually, I'm a little worried about my leg, but we are doing.
Oh yeah.
I'll tell you what, if you guys are in town and not too busy, the 27th, I think, that Thursday, we are doing a UK podcast. We're having a bunch of people call in, and there's going to be drinking. I'm going to be drinking moonshine myself. It's just going to be a party. If you guys get a chance, we'd love to call you in. But no, not yet, not tonight. I feel like I don't know if I got to look at my leg and see if I need to get in yet or what I need to do. So.
Right
Well,
on.
I hear these days that they're using leeches and maggots to help clean out wounds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you might try that.
I think I would have to do it with a doctor telling me to do that. I'm not sure I'm ready to. I would definitely say you've spent some time in Texas, though, because I do get some really interesting ideas from Texans. We're like in Ohio, people say, you better go to the doctor. Texans have a cure for everything. True story.
Yeah.
True story. Tim, what about you? What do you have any special finds or anything that really stood out or, meaningful to you?
I've got so many. I don't even know where to begin.
Yeah.
But, I mean, just in the last...
I'm the best find.
Yeah, there. See, I can't do that, though, because...
Because Sam's a doghouse.
Yeah, see, that's KG's standard answer. He always says, "Oh, my wife's my greatest treasure." So I can't steal that. That's like stealing his thunder. So I can't do that.
My naked cat. He's pretty awesome.
Yeah, your cat. I don't even know what the question was anymore. I'm so disheveled and discombobulated.
Like any really meaningful, yeah.
Well, I've had so many, like in England, the last 3 trips, I've come up with some fantastic things, I got to be part of that silver hoard find with the medieval thing, and Carlotta was, and a bunch of other people. And then I found a 900 BC Bronze Age axe head on one trip.
Oh, wow.
That was absolutely perfect. Better by far than the museum pieces they had there. And that's the kind of thing you dig that up and you think, holy cow.
Right.
That's 3,000 years ago, basically.
And what were they doing?
What was he doing? Why was it there? The whole thing. And those are all super meaningful. My Celtic coin I just found was just so stunning, it just like almost takes your breath away. But there was one thing that I found in Montana that kind of put KG and I, it was the first contact we had with Garrett, and it was the thing that, it's not like it was worth that much, less than $100 or whatever, but
right.
It was a pin. It was a copper pin in Anaconda, Montana, where KG and I lived, where that was a big copper mining town, still is. And it was back in the 1800s and stuff. And back when Montana was a territory and before they had a capital, Anaconda was one of the main cities or towns or whatever that was in the running to be the capital of Montana. And there was a big battle going on, and obviously Helena won. But back then in 1894, when they had the vote, in like 1893, 1894, they printed up all these copper pins that says Anaconda, the capital of Montana. And, it was for the political thing. And I found one of those. We all eventually ended up finding one. I think I ended up finding 5 of them over my time in Montana. But it was the first one we'd ever found. And it came up and we looked it up and realized what it was and everything. And we sent it in to Garrett for I don't know if it was like the find of the month or just to tell him, hey, look, we found some cool thing, this historical thing. And they put it in a little Garrett newsletter, and we were all proud of ourselves and stuff. It was awesome. But that meant a lot to me just because it was my first find that I thought, this is really a cool little piece of history, it's local history there. And I've always been super proud of that find. And it kind of introduced us to Garrett and started our relationship that lasted, since 2005 or so. We've been with them ever since.
Yeah, that is a cool find. I agree. That would be very cool. So, it's something that really never should have existed. And here you have that. That's cool. Bill in chat asked, what do you think about the UK system, of the recovered items, and have you ever got to keep anything?
Oh, yeah. I really, really like the UK. In fact, better than anywhere we ever get to hunt, because there, like that axe head, all my stuff. I also found like a papal bulla from the Middle Ages, part of a thing off of a document from Rome that was sent over there.
Seal.
Yeah, it's a big lead seal about the size of a silver dollar. It had a couple of saints' faces on it and stuff. And it's in a museum right now over there. But the thing is, the great thing about the UK is when you find something, you turn it in to the field liaison officer, and they record it. Everybody wins. The archaeologists, all the stuff I find, even though I found that cool axe head, they found zillions of them over there. And, it's not like it's some earth-shattering thing. It's like, we know that they had axe heads back then. So they're not going to want to buy it from me or the landowner or whatever. They're eventually going to give it back to me. But it's just cool because, does it take time? Yeah, it takes a while for them to record it and all that. And then, eventually you'll get it back though. So it's kind of cool. The papal thing, we recorded that a while back and stuff, but the local museum there, since it was found in an area near Shropshire, this museum there was really interested in it. And, if I take it home and put it in my display case, not as many people are going to see it, so they asked, they just, they asked permission and just said, hey, do you care if we display it for a while? And I'm like, put it in the museum for a couple of years. I don't care. And so they have, my picture and everything in the museum with this thing displayed with a bunch of other stuff. It's really, really cool. And, I'm kind of proud of that. And I'm happy to let them have it and use it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, you get especially stuff like, silver coins from the 1800s or 1900s. They're everywhere, and everybody knows how many were minted and stuff, and England's smart about that. It's like, you turn them in and whatever.
Well,
they don't care about that.
Document the field it came from.
Yeah, they document it, but you get them all back because they don't need them or want them because they're so common. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You kind of brought up a good topic that is always, I've always struggled with. I have some things. Look, I don't have a great collection or anything, but I have found some stuff that I think deserves to be in a museum. I don't mean, the Smithsonian or anything, but local museum. One is a couple display cases from a town from Ohio that was gone by the I think it was 1832, and it was a very early town. It had a post office. They mustered there during the War of 1812, and it's just farm fields now. And I've got a really nice collection, but I had talked to a friend about donating to the local museum, and he said, Mike, don't do it. He'd been metal detecting a lot more years than even I had, and he said, I've donated stuff to 2 museums. One of them has lost it all, and the other one, they sold the stuff. And
I've heard of that happening. I've heard of that happening quite often.
Happens all the time.
All the time. Sell it off.
And I've talked to some other people with experiences, and then I actually talked to a guy who retired gentleman, volunteered at a museum, and he said, Mike, they throw stuff in the basement, stuff's been ruined. So what do we do as detectorists with some of this stuff that, I've got some stuff I like to look at. I know I've got stuff that doesn't belong anywhere, nobody would, but I do have things that I think it's sad that can't go into I'd happily donate if I knew they would be safe. And so
here's what George and I have done this in the past for Anaconda. We found including those, like the pin I just talked about, we found a whole bunch of Anaconda Mining Company memorabilia and stuff like that. And what we did in the past when we used to live there was we'd put up a display case, and it would be locked, of course, in the local library and other places, and it would just be a temporary thing where it would just be on loan to them. Mm-hmm. That way you can display it for 6 months or a year or whatever, and then bring it home.
But make sure it's locked because stuff has gotten stolen.
Yep, and in fact, I think one of George's railroad locks or something got stolen last time we did that. But I mean, it's just, you don't want to just donate stuff like the stuff you're talking about, because even though it's super important to you and maybe to the local community there, overall, it's like to archaeologists and stuff and museum curators and stuff, to them, all it is just another, you know, semi-precious type find. And like, to me, like, I've only found like a couple of seated quarters in my life, just 2 of them, you know, and maybe, you know, 20 seated coins overall. But to me, they're so precious. But to some museum curator, if you donate them, it's like, you know, it's just another dime. They're not really worth anything. They just sell them off to buy some other thing for their museum. They don't care. They don't have that personal connection to it. You and I know exactly what hole they came out of, what day, and, you know,
exactly
how you felt that day, and, you know, what, it's all way more personal to us. So I would say hold on to the stuff, and, you know, there's plenty of time in the future after you're long gone for them to divvy it up and send it to wherever it needs to go. Just donate it on a temporary basis if you're going to do it.
Yeah. But, you know, in reality, that's sad. You know, those 2 cases of stuff I found, I mean, to me, that's important to the local history there. And many people that grew up there do not know of that town. And it's sad that, you know, the way things are. Bill, as we're talking, Bill's telling me, and I knew this story, he told me where they donated a bunch of stuff to a museum and they threw it in the dumpster. And it was from, you know, Morgan's Raiders coming through southern Ohio. We're talking pretty... Right. And, but, you know, I mean, if you know, and I'm thinking long term, you know, I mean, our lives are pretty short overall, but, you know, in 100, 200 years, I mean, does that stuff just all get lost to history? Or, you know, it's a shame we don't have a better system like they do over there and more interest in that kind of stuff. And, you know, I know the archaeology is different here, but, you know, it's a shame these archaeologists a lot of them aren't more accepting and willing, and stuff can't be, you know, I know a lot of hunters we'd love to give stuff up that if we knew it would be taken care of.
Right. But again, it's just that personal connection and the fact that most of the stuff we find, even though it can be tough to find a coin from the 1800s, if you look at, I mean, there's really millions of them. They're everywhere, and you can go to any coin store in any town and buy that same coin. So it's like, it's to us, it's more valuable than it is to those guys. So,
I'm talking. Well, let me give you an example. I've got early buttons. Some of the earliest buttons I've ever seen in Ohio came off of that site. Some really unique buttons. I have a spoon, a pewter spoon with the initials of the hotel's owner that I tracked down. I mean, that kind of stuff. I'm not talking coins. I mean, I would, you know, coins aren't, but I mean, like, really neat relics that really put that town into perspective and give you a little insight of their life. And, you know, I just think it's sad. Like, I just told on, I love looking at it. But, you know, if I could safely donate that, you know, I would be happy to. I don't think I don't have a need to hold on to everything, because I know someday I'm going to be gone anyhow, you know, but I think it's a shame, because from what my friends I talked to over in the UK, over in England, you know, they have such a good system.
They do. They have a great system.
Yeah. And they seem much more interested in saving the history and displaying it. And, you know, I don't know. I know that's a tough one. Yep.
Yeah, I would just say the best thing you can do is just record it to the best of your ability.
Right.
And then pass it on when you're all done with it, when it no longer is important to hold on to it. And, you know, or just have it in your will to, you know.
Well, and you can donate it to a detecting group for prizes or for kids that are getting involved in the hunts and things. I mean, there's other things that you could do with it if you wish to part with it or part,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Send it to somebody that would appreciate it.
Oh, of
That's
course.
all.
I mean, I'll pass it down to my son, and you know. But I mean, you get what I'm saying. There's things that I think us detectorists find that probably should be in museums, and nobody could care less.
Yeah,
You know?
that's true.
That's true.
But I feel like I turned us to just like a real kind of gloomy topic here.
It's very, yeah. Now I'm all
sorry,
sad and
you're
depressed.
sorry.
He needs another beer.
Yeah, better go get a beer. Are you guys?
Hey, on the other, I gotta say something. You know,
Yeah.
this will cheer everybody up. The Bears just clinched their division. The Chicago Bears are now going to the playoffs, and that's just got to make everybody super happy.
No, doesn't do me any good. Doesn't do me any good. What else you got to cheer me up? You got anything else? What else you got? Wayne
Coming up.
Wayne Peterson said you guys need to come to the hunt this summer. Is that in Denver?
That's the hunt in Mancos, Colorado that I went to last year, the Rendezvous hunt in Mancos, Colorado. I think it's the week after Father's Day.
Yeah.
Oh, was that at the...
I don't know.
That's that one you went to where the...
Yeah.
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 I know which one you're talking about.
It would be worth it
Yeah, maybe.
just to meet Wayne. He
Yeah,
is
we'll
a
have to
hoot.
see if we can get it on our schedule or something. We've I know we're going to.
Drive to.
Yeah, I know we're going to the Florida one, the Texas one, and we're going to go to New Hampshire too. We haven't even released that yet, but
Ooh.
I guess I'm doing that right now. We're going to be in New Hampshire somewhere this
Ooh, that should
summer
be fun.
also.
Bones, is it?
Yeah, the Best of New England hunt. KG and I will be there
Oh, that's very cool.
Cool.
in April, I think. So nobody,
April.
I guess people know now that I said it out loud. But yeah,
Not a secret
That's-
It's
anymore.
not April.
I don't know.
Florida's April.
Yeah, I don't know when it is.
Bones is later in the year.
Okay, maybe it's later, but I know where I'm going.
I'll go hang out with Gypsy.
Okay, sounds like a plan.
You guys
We'll go
pick me up. Let's go.
prospecting.
Yeah, pick me up. We'll go do some metal detecting here in Texas.
All right, sounds good.
Are you guys
Yeah.
ready to start wrapping it up?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna watch the second half of this football game and crash.
Is there anything else you want to, you make sure you give out the website, any information you want to, I think you've covered it all, but if there's anything else, put it out there. Put it all out there.
Sure. I'll just tell you the normal stuff. Or if you want to follow us on Facebook, it's the Digging with KG and Ringy page. We're out there. And our AnacondaTreasure.com site.
Digging TV.
And
that's
DiggingTV.com if you want to watch episodes of the TV show. And our schedule and stuff, we'll be posting stuff on our Facebook page like we always do in case you're interested in where we'll be all of 2019. That'll be coming
You can see
out.
the sharks we swam with in Australia.
Yeah,
They're
they're on the Facebook page too. You can see the shark we saw in Australia. I guess sharks. Yeah, there were multiple sharks.
Cool.
Hey, I'm sorry,
And,
guys. What's the Facebook group? I'm looking for it now. I was not aware.
Digging with KG and Ringy.
Okay, good deal.
And yeah, that's on there. Anaconda Treasure. Anaconda Treasure is the YouTube channel. It's also a Facebook page. It has basically the same info as the Digging with KG and Ringy page, but once you hook up with one of those, you can find the links to every other thing out there too. And
do you guys have
we're
a
always
group
running.
on Facebook?
Pardon?
Do you have a Facebook?
That's not really our group. There's a Diggers KG or KG Diggers that KG kind of runs. I think that's a group.
Okay.
Yeah, where
A lot of people will see stuff there. You can post stuff there, and
Okay.
And anytime you want to chat with us through Digging with KG and Ringy, you just send us a message or whatever, and we usually answer if we're anywhere near Wi-Fi or whatever.
Right.
And we're always running contests on the Digging with KG and Ringy page too.
Do that contest.
Yeah, she's running.
She's the bomb.
Yeah, we're giving away I don't know some rinky-dink thing right now. I can't remember what it is. Oh, actually, it's a Civil War mini ball that I found, and the silver coin and some other stuff. But you know, you can. We always. Yeah, no, that'd be awesome. I was thinking it was just like an ATC hat or something, but it wasn't. I forgot there were other actual real things in there. But yeah, every once in a while we'll give away. I think we gave away a Pro Pointer recently and an NX5 and stuff. So every once in a while we throw something out there too. We're gonna have to start competing with Gypsy though. That sounds like a pretty awesome deal. Yeah. See what we can do about that. Can't be outdone by Gypsy.
That's awesome. I've had so much fun. You guys are a hoot, and we'll have to do it again. Maybe after your adventures and you get settled in and you get back, let us know and we'll get you on the show. And I mean, we'd love to. Good. I mean, you know, if you'll have, you know. After talking with me tonight, Gypsy, they might not even let me join their Facebook group or anything. We'll see how it goes first. We'll see.
They don't want to associate with me.
We like hoodlums.
Yeah, we got on this show and this guy's talking about ticks on his testes and
on his dangly bit.
Yeah, we just stay away from him. He's a hot mess. Hot mess.
Oh man.
Yeah, absolutely. Both of you, thank you so much for coming on. I had a blast. I know I kind of talk too much sometimes, and I love the hobby, and I love talking to people in the hobby, and it's really been fun tonight. I've really enjoyed it.
Thank you for inviting us, and thank you, Gypsy, for inviting us. I mean, it was a wonderful surprise.
Gypsy's
Great,
the best.
Awesome. I'm so glad y'all joined us. And one more thing, just remember that after tonight, you'll be able to share the link, and people can go back and listen and share it with your friends and stuff. And we usually have more listeners later than we do live.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. It was kind of a slow night, actually, but it definitely picks up to...
on.
Yeah, probably, exactly. But thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it. I had so much fun. You know, I want to say one more thing. I meant to get in earlier, and then I'm done. I'm completely done. You know, it's always – I've heard so much about you and KG both, and I'm sorry, Carla. I've heard great things about you. I told you that pre-show.
I know. I'm just the little wife. I'm the quiet one in the corner.
No, you're a fellow detectorist, and I don't, you know. But what amazes me is, you know, you and KG have flown all over. You've met so many people, and I can honestly say I've never heard a bad thing. I hear about how fun you guys are, how down to earth, how, you know, normal, and you know that's a really cool thing to me.
Use the word normal loosely.
Well, you know, not conceited or stuck up or, you know, normal. No, I guess I shouldn't say I've ever heard normal. That was the wrong word, but yeah. But thank you guys so much.
Y'all have a wonderful...
thanks for having us on.
We enjoyed it. We'll do it any time if you'll ever come back. But you know, if you don't, we understand. We'll understand.
Y'all have a good night. Enjoy the rest of your game.
Thank you, and Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Happy New Year. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Well, there you have it. Boy, that was so much fun. What fun people. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and tune in tomorrow night, and that ought to be very interesting. I'm really excited about that. We're going to be talking about Oak Island. Good night, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.